Hi, Kayla.
Hi, Elise. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
I'm excited for this because I feel like I know you, but I don't know you. Like it's one of those things, and I'm so excited to know you, and I feel like we're going to be besties after this. So I'm so pumped.
Yeah, I always see your name and I'm like, oh, that's Elise, as if like I know you and I don't really know you. So yeah, I'm excited. Even though it's one way, I feel like I need to I actually did watch your interview, so I do know you somewhat.
I love it. And can you introduce your adorable pup to all of us?
Yes, he literally sits like this all day.
Oh my gosh, he's a little baby.
So this is Bexley, and if you are my client or future client, you'll know him too. He'll be in like all of our sessions.
I love it. So he's like a chill dog.
Oh yeah, he just lays and sleeps all day.
See, I'm jealous because my dogs I have to put them in their areas when I do these because they are wild and they just like don't sit still. They're either like 100 miles an hour or like 0 miles an hour. There's no in between.
Yeah, no, I get that.
I love it. Okay, so we have a little emotional support dog with us today.
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
so, for everyone tuning in, this is Coach Kayla. She's beautiful. We are going to learn all about her today, which I'm excited because I feel like I really want to know all of these answers to these questions about you. So, let's get right into it. The first couple questions are personal questions. So, where do you live?
I live in Washington, D.C. I've lived here for 5 years now, which is crazy. Originally, I'm from Southeast Virginia, and my mom lives in North Carolina. So
Cool. Where in North Carolina? I used to live there.
she lives on Lake Gaston. If you've ever been there, she lives on the lake. So it's like an hour to Raleigh.
Okay.
With the
So how you can't, I'm like geographically challenged. Can you drive to North Carolina from where you are?
It's like 4.5 to 5 hours.
Okay, not bad.
It's
Not
not too bad. No, it's straight 95, so that makes it easy.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, tell us your MBI type and then your Enneagram type.
Okay, my MBI is INFJ.
Okay.
That, depending on the year that I take it, switches whether I'm I or E. It's switched, but I feel like I get my energy from being alone. And to me, that's more introverted, but I love being social. But that's not how I get my energy.
I'm the same way.
And I believe in gut reactions. Like I think our gut is what tells us things. So that makes sense with being intuitive. Feelings, I'm an empath and very sensitive and very emotional. So that's definitely that it was not even a question. And I like structure and order for the J. So
I'm seeing your color coordinated books in the background, and I'm like so obsessed with it because it's giving me life.
oh my gosh, yeah. I read every day for at least an hour.
Ugh,
So,
I need to do that. I need to do that. That's on my like every year. This year, my New Year's resolutions was to read one book every month, which sounds totally doable, but like I'm failing.
you're not failing, you just haven't aligned your habits to your goals.
Ooh, okay. I love that reframe. Love that perspective shift.
Yes.
I love it. Okay. And then what's your Enneagram?
Oh, two. Okay, I really struggle because sometimes when I take it, I'm 3x2, and sometimes when I take it, I'm 3x4.
Okay.
I'm definitely a 3. I know that, but whether I'm like 3x2 or 3x4 changes on the, whichever test I've taken.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know a ton about Enneagrams. I just know like what I am. I think some of the strengths of it are like goal oriented and I don't know. How much do you know about Enneagrams? I'm like currently getting into it.
I'm actually like obsessed with Enneagrams. When the old private practice that I used to work for, that was like, we were Enneagram fanatics. And so I actually read this book called The Road Back to You.
Yes, I've heard of it.
It is so good. I highly recommend it if I actually am like that annoying person that only went to the chapter that is about me.
That's what I would do that too.
Yeah, and then I obviously read like my husband's too, just because I was like, wanted more, it's cool and validating to like read a whole chapter where you're like, this person who wrote this book literally knows me but doesn't know me. So but yeah, the 3 is the achiever, so very like goal driven, sometimes like perfectionistic tendencies. I see a lot of 3s as like former athletes or you know people who do really well in school. I think everybody who pursues like a master's degree or a PhD has some achiever in them, because you don't do that unless you're somewhat of a 3 in that regard. But and then the 2 is the helper. So I'm a 2-wing 3.
Okay.
I think the helper definitely aligns with like the field that you're in and being an empath and being super able to connect with people on
Yeah.
emotions. But that's interesting. I've heard a lot of people where it switches a couple, like when, depending on when they take it or what test they take. I've heard that before.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do 2 fun facts about yourself. I'm excited for this one.
Oh my gosh. Um, let's see. These are really hard.
I know.
I I was a stereotypical pageant girl, which some people think is interesting. I was in my first one on my first birthday, and my last competition was in 2017 or 18. So I did that, which was crazy.
Do you have any tiaras that you can go get and wear for the rest of the interview?
Actually, they're like all packed up in my parents' house. I used to have them out, and then I reached a point where I was like, I guess I should put these away now. But yeah, I love them. It's fun. I viewed that as a sport. You mentally prepare. You have to stay in the know of like current events. I guess my second fun fact could be that I control batons. I was a majorette. So yeah, I did. That was my talent when I was in pageants. So yeah.
You're like major Miss Congeniality movie vibes. I like it's one of my favorite movies on earth, and I just like need to go watch that after this. But that's so funny. I actually did a all natural beauty contest. It was like not legit at all. Like it was just something that my like town threw together, but it was fun, but it was intense. Like, and I feel like if I did like, you know, this low key like natural one, like the ones that are actually beauty contests, like and pageants, like those are intense.
So it's a lot of like mental training, just like physical training. And I think one thing that shocks a lot of people is like I shouldn't say that. A lot of people have watched like Miss America or Miss USA at some point in their life. Or like seen of it. And I've often heard like, oh, this person should have won or that person should have won. The interview portion, which is never shown, so before every pageant, there's like a 10-minute interview one-on-one with the judges, and that typically weighs like 30 or 40% of the scoring. And so it's that too. It's learning how to communicate to, from a young age, I was being interviewed by like adults.
Yeah.
And I think it really helps with just basic communication skills and to be able to stand on a stage and state your name to a crowd. It teaches you public speaking and a lot of other like really good key life kind of things you should know.
Yeah, I could totally see that. I hate public speaking, and what like it's scary as a kid to talk about current events to adults who are in the know, right? So I can just imagine that that is a lot for a kid, you know?
Yeah.
Awesome. I love that. I didn't know that, so that's cool. Okay, what hobbies do you enjoy doing now?
I love to read. My goal this year is 50 books, and I'm on book 28.
Oh my gosh.
So I read a lot. I love I love going to a like fancy Michelin star restaurant. I love trying new restaurants, and I love bottomless brunch. I don't think I'll ever outgrow that. Like that's something I'm always going to enjoy doing. So I guess those are current hobbies, and I'm a plant mom. I like have so many plants just like around where I live. So yeah, it's hard to answer that during quarantine.
I know.
But pre-quarantine, I also love to travel. I went to Greece, to Mykonos and Santorini last August. So those are all like popping up on time hops, which is sad.
Ugh.
But I would say like reading, trying a new restaurant, talking, I don't know. Like I feel like I love my job too. So I'm like thinking about what I do and I'm like, well, I do sessions and then I read and then I take bubble baths and then I eat. It's like those are the things I'm doing right now. So that one's hard to answer because I feel like in a different time my answers would be different.
Yeah, I totally get that. This year has just been like a whirlwind, and I think all the things that we love to do have been taken from us, which is really hard. We're kind of having to be like adapt and, you know, just figure it out and make do with what we can. And so
Yeah.
I'm really jealous that you got to go to Greece though, because that is my number one place to go on my bucket list.
You will go. Where in Greece do you want to go?
I want to go to Mykonos. I want to go to Santorini. Like in my mind, it's like all of the white on like the cascade of a hill with like the ocean and then like the water. You know, I'm just like,
It's really I want to go back. I'll give you like my recommendations and let you know. You should go 100%. It's worth
we
it.
should go together. Let's do a girls trip.
I actually was like, I was there with my boyfriend, which was amazing. He took me there for my birthday last year, which is like, I don't think will ever be topped. But there were like groups of girls there, and I was like, oh my gosh, this would be such a fun place just to come with your girlfriends.
Okay, Callie, we're blush retreat round 2 in Greece next year.
Yeah, seriously.
I love it. Wait, so when's your birthday? Because you went last August.
Yeah, it's in 2 weeks. It's on the 20th.
Okay,
I'm a birthday person. Like,
so am I.
when is your birthday?
March 2nd.
Okay, so what are you? See, I know I'm all into signs, but
Me
I don't
too.
know. I think I'm a true Leo.
Okay, Leos are powerful. Leos are powerful people.
Yeah, I like to think that.
I'm a Pisces, so I'm like the emotional, creative, like I cry all the time and then like, you know, I love it. I'm definitely like a true and true Pisces for sure. That's
Okay.
cool. I love that. We're getting off topic, but it's fine. I went on a little trip to Austin and I took like a astrology class, and it was so interesting to hear about all of the planets and how they're in line with all of the different signs and like Mercury in retrograde and the full moon. Like I was just like, oh, so interesting to me.
That is interesting. That's been brought up in like sessions before too. I have had clients that they love just diving into like their personality and their horoscope and things like that. And I think it's really fun.
Yeah, I have a horoscope app that I check every day, and I'm like, does this relate to my day? Even if it's not, we're gonna make it work anyways.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, so since you like to read a lot, what is your favorite book for yourself? And then if you have one that you would recommend to clients.
Okay. For oh gosh. For myself, I love anything Elin Hildebrand, who is an author from Nantucket, and all of her books are based in Nantucket, and they're so good. And then I'm going to just grab. So for, I actually just finished this one yesterday, and I think it's like one of my new favorite books that I'm recommending, Three Women. It's been talked about and all over, and essentially it's about, the author follows three real women in the US for like I think a couple years, and even goes the extent of like moving to some of their hometowns, really getting to know them and doing these interviews, and it tracks like intimacy and sexuality of women and how a lot of still in society we're shamed and for being sexual creatures, like calling a woman a slut or a whore just because she enjoys sex versus, you know, maybe taboo things that people are interested in, that just because we're women, we should be submissive. So it's so interesting. It follows like their lives and just heartbreak and hardship and dating and sex and all of those things. And it's so great just to read something that like I think any woman would relate to.
I love that. One of my favorite classes in grad school was sex therapy, and I took it in Australia. We like did a study abroad thing, and it was just so enlightening. And I think that it aligns a lot with kind of the taboo ideas and just stereotypes and, structures that we should just fall into. And so that was one of my favorite classes. I felt like I came out of that just like a whole new woman.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like the US is still way far behind, especially countries like Australia, where they are way more sex positive
Yes.
than I think we are in the US. So
It
I
was,
love that book.
that's why we went there, is because it was just a very different environment for us to learn in. And we got to, like, we went out in the community and like learned from people, like, and talked to people. And it was like such an open conversation with no judgment and no criticism. And it was just so amazing. I was like, I'm packing my bags and moving to Australia, y'all.
Yeah, I've never been there, and that's on my list. So
it was amazing. But the flight is like so long. It was, I think, 17 and a half hours, like straight flight from Dallas. And I mean, we all sat in like the back of the plane and we were just all squished together, and it was just a nightmare. But it was worth it once we got there. I just hated the flight.
yeah, no.
But you'll have to go. I love that. Okay, let's jump into the coaching questions. So how long have you been with Blush for as a coach?
I have been with Blush since November. So a year in November. So like 9 months now, 9 to 10 months.
Cool. And you also, we're talking about the helping profession after this, but you also work in a private practice.
Yes. So I work in a private practice located near me. However, I'm now all virtual, which I'm really excited about. Work in private practice, same kind of, I work with women in private practice, and I see anything from eating disorders to relationship issues to anxiety and depression to you name it. I've probably worked with it before. So I bring a lot of my mental health background into my coaching just by, I feel like they blend very easily.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of, they're different areas, but there's a lot of spillover in both, areas. And I think that that's amazing, because I think that's and I've said this a million times on these interviews, but I think that's really one of the big things that sets Blush apart from other life coaching, because yes, it's life coaching, but every single one of our coaches has this groundwork and this foundation that's clinical and professional and, mental health related. And I just think that that's, you can't not know that when you're approaching the coaching process,
100%. I think that's what really drew me to blush was that differentiating factor of like, I hate to say this, but anybody can call themselves a life coach, but not anybody can say, I actually have the tools and the education behind a helping profession to, I think it gives a lot more credibility.
Yeah, I totally agree. I love that. Okay, so what attracted you to the helping profession?
Oh, well, so the first thing is like my parents divorced when I was young and they put me in therapy. So it was like a very mental health positive household where like I literally went to my therapist every week from when I was like 11 to when I went to college. And that was just, I think from there, I just kind of knew. And I'm not somebody that can have a 9 to 5, I sit at a desk job because I need to be interacting with people, not with numbers or whatever. Like I need a job where I can utilize like my people skills because a lot of people don't have people skills and you don't realize that until you're in a job working with people, how many people don't do well working with people.
Yes.
So it all just kind of aligned very easily for me. I loved going to therapy growing up. And then I was like, I want her job. Like, that's what I want to be. So I just kind of tailored it to that. And now I'm here.
I love that. I think that's so special to like, you know, that's a hard experience to work through a divorce as a young kid. And to have something so good come out of that experience and to have such a positive relationship with your therapist to the point that she really like, impacted you in such a way that helped you find your career path that you're so passionate about. I think that's really special.
Yeah, it was like kind of an easy thing that I knew then. And then I just made the choices to go to school for that.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so for Blush, what are your favorite topics to coach on?
So I know you love self-love. I love self-love too. I love just working on self-confidence, self-esteem. I make jokes with some of my clients that I've gone through like literally all of the woes of dating that I can help you have a healthy relationship because if it's happened to someone, I've lived it too. It's like, it's crazy. But I love working with relationships, whether it's the relationship with yourself, a relationship with your mom, or a relationship with your boyfriend, or a relationship with your best friend. I think that relationships are the most important things that we have in our life, and the one with ourself is the most important one. So relationships in general are what I like to work with, but not specifically like romantic. I think that covers like a lot of different things, as well as just, on the other side of that, breakups. I feel like a lot of people and clients that I work with have gone through in our time together some type of change in their relationship. So just navigating those changes and while still being able to maintain your relationship with yourself is key.
Yes, you are preaching. I couldn't agree with you more. And I think it's so nice to be able to talk to someone, right, from a client perspective that understands the importance of relationships, especially this year, right? Like that social component of things has been strained and is lacking for a lot of people. So I think, just being able to have you hold that space for your clients and be able to work through some things that are really tough to navigate on your own. I think that's just so special. I love that. I love relationships too. And I'm with you. I'm like, my dating past is a nightmare. It's literally it's same as you. If it could happen, it's happened to me. I've cried my eyes out about it. It's like but it's nice now because now I'm in a healthy relationship with a great man and I love him and he loves me. So it's like there's hope. There's hope for everyone.
There is.
I love that. Okay, so what's your favorite thing about coaching?
Mm. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this, but I love that the underlying, like whether they view me as their coach or whatever, I feel like it leads to an allyship and like some form of friendship that, you know, I can't necessarily get in private practice because there's um but like with coaching, I feel like I truly get an allyship and a friendship, and I think that just is really special because it's like I'm not only coming from a place of a professional place. I don't want to feel like an authority over my clients. I want to feel like a collaborator and a friend. And that that happens with coaching, and I love that.
I totally agree. I think it's I don't think a lot of people expect to come out of life coaching with their coach being their friend, but it's happened. I mean, I have so many of my clients that I literally call like family because I just love them so much and we have such a special bond. And I think you're so right. That's one piece that, you know, with therapy, there are so many regulations. There's ethical codes, there's HIPAA, there's all of these things, which is so important. But I think on this other side, it's just so refreshing and enlightening to really be able to share your opinions or your beliefs or, you know, anything that you think of with your client if they're curious about it, which I love that piece of it too, because you can really get to such a deep level.
Yeah, 100%.
Love it. Okay, so best coaching tip for a client who's thinking about joining.
Oh my gosh. Just do it. Like that's what everyone has said. I would just say if you're even thinking about it, the most you'd lose is 30 minutes of your time or 15 minutes if you do a consultation.
Yes.
So I would say do a cost analysis. What's the risk and what's the gain? The risk is maybe you lose some time. The gain is maybe you gain a friendship, somebody that you can turn to in a hard time, professional advice. Those already like outweigh losing, 30 minutes. So
Totally.
I'm a pros and cons list person. Make a list. Literally the only thing you can lose is time. So with that in mind, just do it.
Yeah, I love that. I'm a pros and cons list person. That's our J's coming out to play.
No, seriously.
So funny. Okay, so what is your favorite self-care activity? You talked about reading, I'm sure that's, and taking baths, which is my literal number one self-care activity. But what else do you like to do?
So this is excessive, but on baths, for like, I don't know, 15 years now, probably since I was like very young, I've taken a bubble bath every single morning to where when I stay in a hotel, I make sure I have a room with a tub. Like literally every morning, every apartment I've ever lived in, I had to have my own bathroom because I take baths on the tub every day. So I start my day off doing that. And I also love, I don't know, that's hard. I love skincare. I love my skincare routine. And just even going and like when I run out of something, I am not an order. So that could be self-care too. I don't order things online. I have to try things on. And I like that instant gratification of walking into a store and buying something. It's like going and getting something that I love, like candles or a new face mask or something. Like just going and doing that because the sole intention the whole time I'm on my mission is focused on me and something that I want. So I love that.
Oh, you're making me miss shopping in the stores. I want to go. I'm the same. I love that. Okay, so tell us your favorite quote.
this one was hard for me because I feel like my favorite quote changes every day. Like I can see something on Instagram and I'm like, oh, I love that quote. And then the next day it'll be a new one. So, but one I like is you can't be overdressed or overeducated. And I just love that. I'm like, I love in high school, thinking back, I would get up at like 5 a.m., do my hair and makeup, wear like 6-inch stilettos, which is embarrassing. But I loved that. I loved being the most dressed up person anywhere I went. And I secretly still do. I take pride in like trying to put a good outfit together. And I don't know, there's something about that for me that's like when I feel like I'm put together, I am my best version of myself. So that's why I've always loved that quote.
I can totally relate to that. And then how have you been doing during quarantine? Because I'm not even going to lie to you. I have sweatpants on and a nice shirt on right now. So I'm sure, there's been moments like, I like a good spray tan. I like to put my makeup on. I like to wear earrings and I like to wash my hair. But during quarantine, I was literally like, it's okay. I'll just wash my hair next week. I'll just stay in my pajamas till Friday, and it was
Yeah.
cool. So like, how have you been handling that? Are you still like getting ready and,
Yeah. So
do you have sweatpants on?
I have jean shorts on and like a nice top. So kind of. But my thing is every morning, the first thing I do is make my bed. There, like, that's the first thing I do. I take my bath, I eat breakfast, and I have to change clothes. Even if it's into another, like, lounge wear outfit, I get out of what I slept in, like, bare minimum. And then, like actually, quarantine has done really good things for my hair. This is, like, 4-day-old hair we're working with here. So, not bad, but I love getting ready too and feeling, like I said, like my best self, putting my best foot forward. And I've had to check myself some days because there are some weeks I've been like, oh, this like just felt like a crappy week. And it's like, yeah, I was in my sweats and I wasn't really focusing on my skincare routine like I should have been and all of these other things. So I start by making my bed and changing. Even if it's a different set of pajamas, just that act of changing is some sense of productivity.
And even that, like, I feel like that falls into your self-care too, because you recognize that you're doing these things that make you feel good. And so why not? Like, I think sometimes we can be the only thing standing in our own way, like that was definitely my struggle in the beginning of this year. Like, whatever, I'll just like not do it. But those are the things that that you do that make you feel good. So why wouldn't you do that like, I love that. I love that that's your intention right when you wake up and you're like, I'm committing to doing 3 things that I know make me feel good. And that's going to set my day up for making me feel good.
Yeah.
Love that. Okay. These are my favorite questions. We're moving into the fun ones, which are just so exciting. This first one is my favorite. It's, if you could have a dinner party and could invite anyone, who would be invited? And I'm already there, but you can add other people.
Okay. Oh my gosh, that's really hard. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. So mine are just gonna be literally what pops into my head. I would need to have Chris Harrison because I have so many questions about The Bachelor and Bachelorette that I just want to know that go on behind the scenes. So one, I need all the answers to these questions. One, I secretly love Dr. Phil. So
Ew.
would be Dr. Phil. These are just people that I'm thinking of. I mean, I would say like there are these amazing people that I'd love to have, but one, I can't think of them right now, and two, with like social media and the internet, I can find out a lot about them. So I'm trying to think of who do I want secrets from. So that's
Do you watch just because I'm so with you on Chris Harrison and Dr. Phil, do you watch Judge Judy?
Okay, it's always on. Like, it'll be on because I will leave the TV on if I don't have sessions because I think Bexley likes watching TV. But that would be interesting too.
I feel like she has so much tea that she would be like down to spill if we gave her like a glass of Chardonnay and she's like lit, you know?
Yeah. And other than that, I don't have any like celebrities that I'm currently obsessing over. So it comes in waves with me.
Yeah, I get
Like,
it.
love a certain celebrity or blogger or whatever, and then lately it's been like I don't have anything like that. So yeah, I would want it to be like a spill the tea dinner. That's
Yeah.
what I
And we can have tea. We can have tea.
yeah.
I love it. Okay, that's a good one. I think Chris Harrison is like, I would love to just know, you know, there's so much unknown there.
Yes.
Okay, so what's one thing that you can't live without?
Oh my gosh. Oh. So this could go like serious or just in general. I couldn't live without my, I'm not saying that. I could say like my dog or whatever. Trying to think of something I use every single day. I love bacon, egg, and cheese biscuits.
Oh my
I can't live without that. Honestly, I start off my day every day
What
with
kind of biscuits?
uh, that depends. But whether I get it from like I make it or if it's frozen or if I go to like Bojangles,
Mm.
just I don't know. That would be my fun answer, and then my serious answer would be my I don't know my family. I don't my literally my mom because she birthed me, so I couldn't live without her.
Oh, I like that. That was on mine. I did like a group of family because I just like love my family so much.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Okay, if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Oh my gosh. As much as I think once I got my superpower, I would not want it. I would love to read people's minds. But I think I would hate it once I saw what was in there, but I would love to do it for a day.
I know. That's awesome. I thought about that too. Mine was teleporting, but I was like, you know, I would like to read people's minds until it got to be something that I didn't want to know. And then I'd be like, oh, you can't unknow that, you know?
Yeah. It I just because I think I spend so much of my time catching myself trying to mind read that I'm like, and I have to tell myself, I'm like, I'm not a psychic. I cannot read people's minds. Because how many times have we been in a place where we're like, this is probably what is going, and it's like, no, I literally don't know.
Yes.
So because I spend so much energy trying to mind read, I should just be able to do it for one day.
Love that. That's a good one. Okay, so what or who inspires you the most?
Oh, these are hard because it's like, of course, I get inspiration from my family, and that's a given to me. That's like a given. I really, I really get a lot of inspiration from myself. I am like a dreamer, and if I think about something and put my mind to it, I typically will be my own kind of guiding force. And, that I don't know, that probably sounds bad, but I try not to rely on other people because I'm easily swayed. So like if I have an idea or something, I hone in on it and I just take it off. And if I take in other people's opinions or turn to them, sometimes I get swayed and like feeling off balance.
I always say this to people talking about the same thing, whether it's a client or friend, but like I'm the type of person that when I go shopping and I find something that I like, I buy it and then I go home and I show, like if it's my friend, I'm like, look, I bought this, it's so cute, right? Versus like sending pictures and saying like, what do you think about this? And if you're sending a picture, you actually like it and but you might not buy it because someone might say like, oh no, I don't like that. So I totally relate to that because I'm like, if you like it, go for it, get it and own it, right?
100, like, I actually don't shop with other people. I love going shopping into stores by myself.
Mm-hmm.
So inspiration, it's like the given answer is my family, like the women in my family. I love them, and my dad. But for the day-to-day life and the things that I've done in which I'm proud of have been me. And I'm like, and I instill that in my clients. I'm like, you are the only person who's in the driver's seat of your life. Like, yes, things can happen to you, but you are the one that gets to respond, and that gives you all of the power.
I love this. We speak the same language. I'm like, we're on the same wavelength. Okay, last question, which kind of makes me sad because I like feel like we should go like have a happy hour after this or like hang out virtually.
I'm excited to meet you in person.
I know.
Whenever that will be.
I know. Okay, last question. What makes you feel most empowered?
Most empowered is when I just feel like I'm doing good. Like when I love, and I think this is three, I love validation. I don't actively seek it, but when I get it, I love it. And just when I know I've done a good job at something, like whether that's just a feeling that sits with me, or when someone says like, that was great, or I feed off of that, and that makes me feel so good. And whenever that happens, I can take that and like launch it into my next week. So I would say just any type of positive feedback and validation makes me feel really empowered.
Yes, and that so aligns with type 3 Enneagram. Everything that you just said is like that's it, that in a box, which is awesome. I love that aligned. Okay, well, we're all done and I'm so sad about it, but it was so nice. I'm so honored that I got to be the one to ask you all these questions, and I just love you.
I know. This was really fun. We need to do like a Zoom happy hour soon or something.
I'm there. You just let me know and I'm there, okay?
All right.
All right, well, it's Friday, so have a good weekend.
Thank you. All
All right, I'll talk to you later.
right, bye.